The time is 5:02 p.m. The House Select Committee on Congressional Redistricting will come to order. The clerk will call the roll.
Chair Vasut.
Here.
Vice Chair Rosenthal.
Here.
Representative Garcia. Representative Guerin. Here. Representative Gervin Hawkins. Present. Representative Guerra. Here. Representative Guillen. Here. Representative Hefner. Here. Representative Hickland. Here. Representative Hunter. Here. Representative Manuel. Representative McQueenie. Here. Representative Metcalf. Here. Representative Moody. Representative Pearson. Here. Representative Spiller. Here. Representative Tepper. Here. Dean Thompson. Here. Representative Turner. Representative Wilson. Here. Representative Wu.
A quorum is present. The chair lays out House Bill 4. Representative Hunter offers up a committee substitute to House Bill 4, and the chair recognizes Representative Hunter to explain the committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are we on?
There we go.
Third time's a charm. So before you is the committee substitute, and let me give everybody a summary of the committee substitute. The proposed changes to HB 4 affect the following congressional districts: 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 17, 18, 22, 29, 36, 38. As based in my previous commentary on Rucho, this map is based on partisanship, political performance. And for all of you here, it is enhanced and increased Republican partisanship, enhanced performance. The intent of the changes was to increase Republican political performance in existing Republican districts from the proposed plan. 9 out of the 12 that I just listed are Republican performing districts. 6 out of these 9 Republican performing districts, 2, 8, 9, 17, 22, 38, improved their Republican political performance in the committee substitute compared to the other plan. While remaining 3 Republican districts, which are 6, 14, 36, they remain strongly Republican at 60% plus Trump. CD 18 remains majority-minority black CVAP from the proposed plan, and compactness stays the same overall. Harris County, there are changes. CD 19, we're increasing Republican performance. CD 9, Republican political performance increases from 57.24% Trump to 59.41% Trump. It now includes all Liberty County. CD 2, Republican political performance increases from 60.19% Trump to 60.80%. It also increases from 57.38% Cruz to 58.05%. CD 8, the Republican political performance increases from 61.68% Trump to 63.10% and 58.57% Cruz to 60.08%. These are examples in the 12 that we've laid out. CD 36, the Republican political performance remains strong. Trump at 61.75%. Cruz, both high performance. CD 38 increases Republican political performance from 59.46% Trump to 59.64. Cruz would increase from 56.57% to 56.73%. Now, CD 22, it increases Republican political performance from 59.47% Trump to 60.05%. It takes a portion of Brazoria from CD 14. The CD 14 Republican political performance remains very strong, 61.5% and above. Navarro County area changes. CD 17 removes the split from Navarro County and places Navarro wholly in CD 6. The Republican political performance increases from 59.97 to 60.09. CD 6 now gains all of Navarro County to make it whole, and the Republican political performance remains strong, over 60%. So members, these 12 districts were impacted. Many that I have laid out have focused on Harris County primarily, and there is a Navarro County area change. It increases Republican performance. The 5 districts that are new Republican performing districts still exist in the plan, but it exists in addition to those 5, you're seeing an increase and an enhancement in other Republican areas. So based on Rucho, based on Petaway, this, Mr. Chairman, is what the committee substitute addresses.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Chair will show Representative Manuel now present. Members, questions for the bill author on the substitute?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Dean Thompson to question the author on the substitute.
Mr. Chairman, would you tell me the changes you made in CD 9?
CD 9, we increased in the CD 9 area the particular detail on the lines. It includes now all of Liberty County. And we made sure that that particular congressional district has an increase to almost 60% Republican.
May I ask you an additional question, please?
Yes.
So when you move it to include all the Liberty County, you eliminated what part? Because you moved it eastwardly.
Well,
If you
all
went to
I can
Liberty
show
County.
you is if you take 9, all of Liberty is in it, and you can pull up your district viewer, and it will show you where the lines now are with 9 in the other county.
Let me ask you a question on 18. What did you say you did in 18?
In 18, it remains a majority-minority black CVAP. The compactness stays the same overall. CD 18 decreases black CVAP slightly from 50.81% to 50.71%, but increases Hispanic CVAP from 22.40% to 23.83%.
So there was a decrease in the CVAP of the African Americans, but an increase in the Latino in that area, right?
Very, very small, but you're correct.
I noticed that also that looked like that little part that looked like a little boot. You put that in what area?
You would have to
And
pull
it-
up the district viewer and see exactly where those lines are.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dean. Representative Manuel, recognize the question, bill author on the substitute.
Thank you so much. Chairman Hunter, just some really quick questions. Thank you for laying out the layout of the districts of where they are with President Trump and Vice President Harris. What I was wondering is, looking at CD, just to start off with CD 30 and 33, has there been any concern about the fact that historically CD 30 has always had an economic engine of the airport in their district, and now it is no longer there? And the reason I ask that is because not that anybody deserves to have an airport or deserves to have any economic interest, because people move their district headquarters wherever they choose to, but there's some historical economic engines that have been in 30 that are now and have been moved to Congressional District 33 that were in a predominantly black African American area, and was wondering if that was a part of any decision making when it comes to the maps, as part as one of the questions.
So, Representative Manuel, I think that those two districts that you referenced were in the original and unchanged in the substitute. So the questions, I think, the only thing pending before the committee at this time is the substitute,
So
whether
the-
to adopt it. So, yeah, questions I think have to be limited only to the substitute. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me ask this way into the substitute. Are all of the economic engines that were in Congressional District 30, are they still in that congressional district now?
That's again the underlying bill. Again, that's the underlying bill. You're not asking me about. I told you at the top, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 17, 18, 22, 29, 36, and 38 are the changes.
Okay, so.
But,
Okay,
like I told Dean Thompson, if you'll go on District Viewer
Yeah.
and look at the original 30, it'll tell you exactly where the line is.
okay, so as of right now, just, can you, and I'm so sorry, I promise
you're
I'm
fine.
not trying to be facetious. Can you tell me those districts one more time? And I know it is completely my
Absolutely.
fault.
No,
but I
no,
was
no,
late.
no. 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 17, 18, 22, 29, 36, 38.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. So I have two questions, because you answered my question. So there aren't any changes to 30 and 33. It's only to these lists from 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 17, 18, 22, 29, 36, and 38. Just want to make sure. Okay. So you answered my question. So there aren't any changes to those. As it relates to CD9 and CD29, and I completely understand if you don't have the answers to it, because I know sometimes we just don't know. Are there any changes in the economic engines to CD9 and CD29? And the reason I ask is because those are traditionally districts that have had minority representation and were minority coalition districts previous. So I'm wondering if there's been any changes to those coalition districts as it relates to their economic engines that have been used to help prop up those communities in those districts.
Okay, now, as a preference, we've already gone through the two, Rochu and Petaway. So as you remember, there's a different view on the legal involvement
Right.
of coalition. Do I specifically know? The answer is no. You could go on District Viewer, but being a coastal guy, now that
We're both
CD9 has Liberty County, I think that's a great economic energy area. So I think you gained a whole bunch.
Well, we're both coastal guys. I will agree on that. What I will say is all the refinery and industry that is traditionally in the areas are between mainly Jefferson and Galveston, parts of Orange, but mainly Jefferson and Orange. I'm not seeing what industry there is that is in Congressional District 9 because I know that we have had prospects of what could come to those areas, but they've all been vastly working class industrial areas. And the reason I ask, because I've brought this up before, is that Congressional District 14, which is Jefferson and Orange, and Galveston, which predominantly used to not look like this, that brought really bad economic interests to our area because we ended up being merged with a predominantly blue-collar retail industry, and it caused us to lose a massive amount of GDP. It caused us to have a massive amount of underemployed Black, whites, Hispanics, Latinos, and biracial people. And I'm just wondering if that was the case that was happening in CD 9 from where it used to be and CD 18 as well. So I got that understanding. You don't know if there are any economic engines that have been changed in Congressional District 19 or Congressional District 29, but we're assuming that that should be better for us as coastal members.
Okay, now 19 you mentioned is.
Sorry, not 19, I'm sorry, 9 and 29, I
Yeah,
apologize.
9
That was
and
a
29, as I indicated, you'd go on District Viewer to look. Do I know specifically without going to that? I do
Okay.
not. I do think, as you know, at the top, political performance was used, and that was our factor.
Okay, and I think this should be the last question because I don't want to be a liar. May I ask, what was the reason for the changes in the congressional districts from what we had previous? Like, what was the reasoning for changing those districts previous to now?
To
if
make
you
them
don't
more
mind?
Republican.
To make them more Republican, so it was
That's right,
just-
partisanship, political performance. That's what I said at the very top. Absolutely, they've been enhanced, and it makes it stronger, and it allows a Republican performance, partisan under the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay, so please forgive me, Chairman, I'm really not trying to be adversarial, I promise. So we're making sure that now these districts are purely political when the last time we were here, and I really don't mean that as a pun intended, that we talked about how some of these districts were predominantly now going to be Hispanic or Latino opportunities. So now it's not that we are doing this, you're saying, because it's purely because of President Trump's performance in an election. So is that what we're saying is the reason that we're changing CD 9 and the rest of 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 17, 18, 22, 29, 36, and 38, correct?
No, I don't agree with you. The U.S. Supreme Court, as we've already talked in many, many hours, Rucho, says a jurisdiction may engage in constitutional political gerrymandering, recognizing that politics and political considerations are inseparable from districting and apportionment. It says that you can use partisan interests. It can use political performance. It indicates that this is absolutely a factor. This is a U.S. Supreme Court, and we are able to use that. It's the same premise that I provided in the prior presentation.
Has the U.S. Supreme Court ever put a precedent on doing mid-decade redistricting?
We've done it before.
Well, no, I know we've done it before, but he went to jail. So that's the reason I'm asking is have they placed anything in there that says that?
I don't agree with that. I think that's a remark that I would not agree with. To bring up somebody went to jail, I can give you 14 other reasons why maybe the other side was wrong. I don't think we want to shoot at each other in the hearing.
No, I get that.
But you don't. I don't agree with that. There's nothing that prevents this congressional redistricting.
No.
And we could do it again.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm going to go back to the previous last hearing is my district was mid-decade redistricting in 2003. And because of that, Tom DeLay was sentenced to jail because there were things that he had done during that, and Tom Delay's probably gonna get me, so I pre-apologize, but you
This
did
doesn't
tear my
really have
district.
any
So, no, but what I'm saying is
about
that.
this committee substitute.
No, I'm asking is because you brought up the Supreme Court. That's the only reason, I promise. I'm not an attorney. I think you all know that. I'm just a former simple staffer who's been here for 21 years in October. And I was just wondering if, I've been that long, I know, I have nothing else to do important in my life. Wondering if, since we are bringing up the Supreme Court, has said that we can do this because of performance, and totally understand that, Chairman Hunter, was wondering if the Supreme Court had ever issued out a statement saying that mid-decade redistricting is something that is not an issue. Because again, the only reason I'm saying that is because the last person in Texas who did that did go to jail. Not saying you or anyone else, I'm saying the last person who did that in Texas went to jail because he was doing things on a federal level that was found to be
Representative,
found to be for him
Representative,
criminally
you're
to spend
off
time in jail.
on not the committee substitute. You're going off. You know, this was all discussed August 1st.
Yes, sir.
This is August 18th. We're on a committee substitute, and we're not re-arguing those areas. If you have questions
Okay.
on this plan, I will focus on it.
Okay,
We
I
will
do
not
actually have one for that
agree.
one.
I understand. We will respectfully disagree with each other. But,
Oh, yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman, let's focus on the substitute.
Okay, I want to focus on the sub then, and I'll just say this. Focusing on a committee substitute, has there ever been a Supreme Court ruling that says the committee substitute
Well,
for redistricting
I
can be
think,
brought
I
up?
think Representative, I feel you in the sense of trying to tie the question to it. It really, the questions I think pending before the committee at this time are just about the changes that have been made in the committee substitute compared to the introduced and
Okay.
the explanations for those, as opposed to the constitutionality of mid-decade redistricting, which I think doesn't touch the changes on the map. So if you have a question about, a particular change, certainly fair game.
Perfect. Okay, I do actually have one. When it comes to Congressional District 33, Chairman Hunter, would you mind, again, and I pre-apologize, can you give me the breakdown and the reasoning for Congressional District 33 changing from where it was to why? Like, why we're moving it or changing it to where it is?
So on that one, Representative, so 33 did not change.
So 30 changed.
30 did not change either.
So it was 36.
36 and 38.
Okay, so question of the chair then.
Sure.
And please forgive my novice
you're
for
fine.
asking this question. I thought that when we changed any congressional district, even by one voter, it changed every congressional district because we had to move people.
Fair question.
So maybe that's where I'm.
So
confused.
in what you'll see on your district view and in front of you, Representative, if you'll see there's a handout that has at the top in red Plan C2331 and then in
Yes.
black underneath it Plan C333. So this shows obviously just with the limit of an 11 by 17 piece of paper, the changes that were made between
Right.
the introduced and the committee substitute. The introduced is the red lines. You see those?
Yes.
And the substitute is the colored areas that are shaded. And so what you'll see, for example, your questions
Real
earlier
quick,
about
is that the dark shaded part or the red shaded part?
any type of color shading is the
Okay.
committee substitute, and any type of red line is the introduced. And so if you look, representing the top right corner of that,
Okay.
you see
I
in
see what
30
you're
and 33, you see how they line
Yes.
up perfectly?
So like in 38, sorry, not 38. So like in 22, you see where
Yes.
it used to be in this boundary
Yes.
up here next to Waller County, but it's now drawn somewhere different. So that's actually going to
Yeah,
be
so
within Waller
so
County.
you can ask the representative
questions
about questions about
okay.
the differentials between the shaded areas and the red lines, basically. Does that make sense?
Yes, no,
You bet.
absolutely.
So do you have a question for the representative about
yes,
anything on that? Yeah, go for
I
it.
do. If you just give me one, because my biggest
Take your time.
concern
Just let us know.
is, and again, Chairman Hunter, I appreciate you taking the time. I promise I'm not going to try to belabor the moment because I know people are probably already irritated as it is. Looking at this, in those red lines of it, looking at 29 and 18, the only changes have been is that Congressional District 18 has been basically, it has increased its population of black people while also keeping its economic engines that it's traditionally had. Is that correct? Or are we only going off of race?
No, again, as I answered Dean Thompson, CD 18 decreases black CVAP from 50.81% to 50.71%. But
Wait, 50 point, sorry,
conversely,
50 point
50.81 to 50.71.
71. Okay, so
But
it
it
decreases.
increases the Hispanic CVAP from 22.40% to 23.83%.
Okay, and just trying to make sure that I'm staying in the sub-chairman, so sorry about that. When we're looking at Congressional District 30, there are no changes to that.
Again, stipulated, no changes in the committee sub to 30.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at the map, and there also are not any changes to 33, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 18, 22, 29, 36, 38.
No,
and-
no, no.
No.
2,
Right.
6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 17, 18, 22, 29, 36, 38.
Okay. Last question, I very much promise. What were the changes in economic engines to Congressional District 18?
As I responded to Dean Thompson,
Uh-huh.
you would have to go to the district viewer and look exactly at those lines.
Okay, so looking at the district viewer, we will be able to see
You'll see exactly where the lines are.
what those lines are. And I shouldn't have lied and said last question. I promise this is it. So if there are any congressional districts, sorry, if there are any severe economic,
If we can get you to vote for this, you can ask me 10 more, Christian. I'm counting on you voting yes. That's
live
an
on the Gulf
economic
Coast.
engine right there.
I live on the Gulf Coast and I would be easily be
Come
able
on
to
down.
set adrift. When it comes to CD 18, if there are any severe economic changes to the economic congressional power of 18, would that be something that we, as a committee, maybe I shouldn't ask the question. If there are any severe economic changes to Congressional 18, which is a historically black district that has been historically underrepresented now in this moment, that has had a very serious need and has been vacant by the time someone would take the seat over a year, would we take that into serious consideration to understand the economic poverty that people who live in 18, particularly black and brown people who live in those districts, have historically had to deal with since before the voting rights and after have gone into effect?
As I have answered, you'll have to go to the district viewer, look at the exact lines to see where exactly the indicators that you're looking at are or not.
And then bring that to you on the floor and see if maybe
Sure.
there's a way we can see about making that better.
I'm opening to visit with anybody.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chairman. I really do appreciate your time for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
Dean Thompson, for what purpose?
May I ask, make an inquiry, please?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, Hunter, the Senate yesterday voted out a map, and we have a substitute. What is going to pass? Do we vote the Senate map out, or is it going to be the House substitute?
Now, I can't predict, but I sure do love the House map and the authors.
I think you've answered my question. Thank you.
Ms. Gervin Hawkins, for what purpose?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chairman
recognized.
Hunter, I'm just trying to understand, since I'm a little new to redistricting. When I look at the map, I'm looking at when you look at that, what I call a hodgepodge of 2, 30, 38, 29, 18, all of those. So does that mean that all of those, that little area have all those different congressional people?
I'm not clear on the question.
Gotcha.
So this is the current districts, and this is the committee substitutes. The red boundaries is the current district, and the shaded is the
Is that, okay.
committee substitute. And this is the introduced bill.
Gotcha.
This is the committee substitute.
All right, thank you. Chairman Hunter, thank you. You don't have to answer my question and/or interrupt me because my neighbor here just gave me mine.
Well, I'm glad he's supporting my map. Keep talking to him.
Well, I don't think he's supporting your.
Oh,
Let's be clear, because again, I may be new to this, but I'll tell you this, it sure looks fishy to me in terms of how this is all.
but not to the Republicans.
And I get that. But it's like the Republicans entitled to their viewpoint, the Democrats entitled to their viewpoint.
And really, you're supposed to be asking questions about the map on the substitute, but we just disagree like you and I talked on August 1st, 17 days ago. I don't agree with you, and I'm following Rucho, the U.S. Supreme Court in Petaway, and it allows us to do this substitute.
Mr. Chair, with all due respect, why can't you finish your statement and I can't finish mine without interruption? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gervin Hawkins. Now, Dean Thompson, you had a question. You thought you saw something to change on 16?
There's a change on 16.
I didn't see any change on 16.
Okay,
Well, okay, not in this substitute.
Yeah, it looks pretty significant in the substitute.
Well, I think what we're looking at right now, just to be clear for the record, is we're looking at the difference between the substitute and the introduced.
Okay, I'm looking at 16, and 16 has, under the substitute and under the one that was.
Dean, I think maybe what we do is, once this substitute's adopted, and then I think that's a question for the introduced on the bill itself, because that was a difference between the introduced and HB 4 from the first special session.
Yes,
Does
sir,
that
I'm
make sense?
talking about the plan or 23. Okay.
Sure. So just so the record was clear, so what we have pending before the committee at this time is whether to adopt the committee substitute. So the questions were about the substitute versus the introduced. Once the substitute's adopted and we're back on the bill, then I think you could ask a question about 16 because that was a difference with the bill. Thank you, Dean Thompson. Mr. Vice Chair, for purpose.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Go for it.
All right, so just so we're clear, and this map that we've been handed in front of us just today, which is what we're trying to ask questions about, and sorry for the protracted questioning, but since this is the first that we've seen of it, and now we're going to adopt a substitute, and then we're going to have some conversation about that, right? So just to be clear, Plan C 2193 was the original introduced bill, is that correct?
Yeah, the good question, Vice Chair. So Plan C 2193 is the plan that was adopted in the 88th legislative session, a duplicate of what was adopted in the 87th. It's the current lines of the congressional districts.
Right.
If you, on your other piece of paper that has Plan C 2331, yeah, on your left hand, right here. So Plan C 2331 is House Bill 4 is introduced in the second special session.
Got it.
And
And
in
then-
black underneath that is the substitute pending before the committee.
Got it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Representative Turner, you recognize the question, please. The author.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Hunter, when we were last here, I asked you on the previous plan that we had before us, if you knew who drew the map. And I think you had said you'd gotten it from a law firm, but didn't know who actually drew it. Do you know who drew this map?
Be the same answer. Everything I've gotten is from the law firm. Don't know who drew it. Same answer as previous.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Members, any other questions for the author on the substitute? Hearing none, the question occurs on the, well, actually, members, is there any objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Okay, there is objection. Since objection has been made, the clerk will call the roll. And this is the question before the committee is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Noted.
Chair Vasut.
Aye.
Vice Chair Rosenthal. Representative Garcia. Representative Guerin.
Yes.
Representative Gerben Hawkins.
No.
Representative Guerra. Representative Guillen. Representative Hefner. Representative Hickland. Representative Hunter.
Yes.
Representative Manuel.
No.
Representative McQueenie. Representative Metcalf. Representative Moody.
No.
Representative Pearson. Representative Spiller. Representative Tepper. Representative Thompson. Representative Turner. Representative Wilson. Representative Wu.
There being 12 ayes, 8 nays, the substitute is adopted. Dean Thompson, you wanted to ask a question on the bill, I believe. You're so recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I was asking about CD 16. Let me flip.
Okay,
Okay, I got to flip my paper.
we're working on the little microphones for just a second. Dean, I think you got your mic on now. You're good.
Thank you. In July of 2025, CD 19 had 79.8 CVAP Latino, Hispanics, and under the committee substitute, it has 79.2. So there's a difference of 0.6. And I was just asking the chairman, for an explanation on that.
Were you asking about 19?
No, 16.
And what is the question on
That was-
16?
You made an adjustment there, and I was asking the rationale of it.
You talking about Fort Bliss, just to cut through it?
Yeah, that's
2021, we heard testimony about Fort Bliss from El Paso testifiers and people that talked to us. And an adjustment was made in 2021. In 2025, during the hearings, we heard and received information from folks in the West Texas to El Paso area because the proposal had it split. And there was a request, and I think El Paso Chamber may have been one of them. There you go. See, they're even talking about it. But the bottom line is the request was to keep Fort Bliss whole like it had previously been done in 2021 by me. And so that's all that was done. There wasn't any negotiation, there wasn't any, it was basically to be consistent with 2021. And I do think probably El Paso, talking for people there, that probably want the fort wholly in an El Paso region versus being in another region of the state. And that was all that it was, and I made that decision. That was me. But there wasn't anything else. There wasn't any big negotiations consistent with what we did in 2021 to 2025. And it had a little history to it. And you were there with me when we did it. And that's all it was.
Thank you.
And that was it, and thank you for asking.
Thank you, Dean. Okay. Members, the chair moves that House Bill 4, as substituted, be reported to the full House with the recommendation that it do pass and be printed. Does any member wish to make a statement? Seeing none, I'm sorry, Representative Wu, you're recognized to make a statement.
Mr. Chair, once again, we object to these maps and the way that this process has been done. These maps have been altered. The public has not had time to view them, much less have testimony on them. There's been no public input on these new maps at all. And this is a significant change to many of these districts. And it should be incumbent upon this body to be transparent to the voters and to the people to which we govern. And I, again, object to the way that this process has been handled, hiding the maps, refusing to say who helped draw them, refusing to reveal why they're being drawn until the last minute or what basis they're being drawn on, and the general lack of transparency throughout this process. Thank you.
Member Swoop. Members, anyone else need to make a statement? The chair has none. Members, the question occurs on the motion. Again, that was, I moved to report House Bill 4 as substituted to the full House with recommendation to do pass and be printed. Oh, I apologize. Did we have you?
Yes.
Oh.
No, I didn't get to person.
That's why I didn't see you. So I haven't called the roll. So we're still good. Mr. Manuel, recognized to make a statement.
I would just, despite politics, despite irritation and everything, I really hope that we look at some of these districts that have been historically underrepresented, and that we would take an opportunity, obviously not here in committee, but when we get to the floor, for the chair and the author of HB 4 to please heavily consider looking at what are the losses to historically Black, Brown, Latino districts, and white Latino districts, but these districts that have historically been underrepresented, to make engines that have been historical to keeping these people afloat, because of the fact that we have statistics and data on everyone's side that has shown that the lack of economic interest, the lack of economic engines can help bring about a more extreme version of poverty. And I hope that we look at those when we're on the floor, and that the chair and the author of the bill would make amendments to these if they are seeing that they're taking out these interests, because having poor people in a state actually increases crime. And if we are increasing economic interest, increasing economic value in communities, it brings everyone who is in poverty out of it without them having to use government assistance. And also it puts us in a place where we can be a shining example of, if Republicans can truly do this the way that you all keep saying that you can do this by having more representation, I would hope that you all would make sure that our districts would not be underrepresented in a way that has been historically used during the teardown of Reconstruction throughout our country.
Ms. Manuel. Members, any other statements? Chair hears none. Members, the question occurs on the motion. The clerk will call the roll.
Chair Vasut?
Aye.
Chair Vasut?
Aye.
Vice Chair Rosenthal?
Nay.
Representative Garcia? Representative Guerin? Yes. Representative Gervin Hawkins? No. Representative Guerra? No. Representative Guillen? Representative Hefner? Aye. Representative Hickland? Aye. Representative Hunter? Yes. Representative Manuel?
Absolutely not.
Representative McQueenie? Aye. Representative Metcalf? Aye. Representative Moody? Representative Pearson?
Absolutely aye.
Representative Spiller?
Aye.
Representative Tepper? Aye. Dean Thompson? No. Representative Turner? No. Representative Wilson? Aye. Representative Wu?
There being 12 ayes, 8 nays, and 0 present not voting, the motion prevails. There being no further business before the committee, the chair moves to adjourn, subject to the call of the chair. Is there objection? The chair hears none. The House Select Committee on Congressional Redistricting stands adjourned, subject to the call of the chair at 5:48 p.m.